There's toxic masculinity, but what are examples of toxic femininity? I adore my kids, just still get angry at how uninformed I was and how I wasn't listened to for the first two. Poor medical decisions by doctors and nurses nearly killed both of us with the first. I asked for a tubal and was refused due to age. Asked again with number 2 and barely got approved. Was treated like an inanimate object during surgery. Number 3 was an amazing birth experience, even with it being a C-section, because everyone involved considered my emotional and physical needs in every aspect of care. He was a huge surprise, but I'm glad I finally got to have a positive birth experience. I'm sorry, but again, how can an operation that literally cuts your abdominal cavity open so someone can shove a hand in there and extract a whole-ass human baby be considered no big deal? Jesus fuck. Also, just to point out, the procedure was historically used when the mother was already dead or considered to be beyond saving. I can't imagine we went from that to rainbows and unicorns even with modern medicine. I am so sorry this happened to you. I hope you are happy with your family after all you've been through. 3. I had women in an online group meant to support women attack me ferociously just for using the term major abdominal surgery because they said I was making a big deal out of a simple procedure. I've had 3 C-sections, they suck. When done well, they can be no big deal emotionally, but they are still a much more difficult recovery when it's an emergency C-section because you and your child are dying and they botch your stitches so that they ooze pus for months, as well as leaving masses of internal scar tissue that randomly cause intense pain for the rest of your life. That's a big deal to me. I doubt it's easy for the baby doctor either. Option 1. They get to sit there and wait for the mother's body to push the baby out, maybe a bit of moving the emerging baby around to get them out, then clamp and snip the cord and pass the baby to the nurses to clean them up. Doc wait for the placenta to be delivered and checks that it all came out as it's supposed to. Maybe a couple of stitches if mom tears badly enough. Option 2. Performed delicate surgery to carefully cut a baby out with as little damage to mom as possible and ensuring they avoid injuring baby. All the steps in the middle before stitching everything back up. Oversimplification for comparison. Obstetricians are invaluable, and I don't mean to downplay the sit there and wait thing at all. My sister was saying my wife took the easy way out by having a C-section. It was an emergency C after being in labor for over 24 hours, then she was in a wheelchair for 2 weeks before she could carry her own baby. On the other hand, my sister, who gave birth like a real woman, water broke, 15 minutes later gave birth, walked around holding her baby 30 minutes later. Because the sane people just use all the many friends and family they have to fill that role. As always, people that need these social tools often have issues, and are perceived as having issues, or causing problems. You see it in other communities like fraternities/sororities/social clubs. Most Greeks are pretty average, but there's a solid component 10 to 50% that don't have anything else. Without the frat they'd be a complete nobody. There's people like this that are just quiet and chill. However, sometimes they're searching for a group, because they don't play well with others. P.S. I'm not saying everyone in these groups is like that, but it's a thing. Also, not shitting on Greek life. I get fed up seeing that stuff on Reddit, but it is a type of person out there. Online mom groups are some of the most toxic places I've ever seen. I mean, I'm sure they're not the worst thing online, there are incels and such, but considering how common it is to have children, you'd think there'd be more sane parenting groups out there. I'm witnessing this among my observation of baby mama and her other mom friends. It's subtle fuckery that starts off with a small comment about someone's day and then it becomes a one-upping contest. Just a bunch of pounding on their milk-stained shirts as they scream out who has the superior vulva. To me it would mean women who bag on other women for womaning differently than they do. This becomes really toxic after childbirth. Some women will feel nothing about letting you know how you are parenting wrong by using this product or letting your child do this particular thing. Women who are able to stay at home will be made to feel guilty for not helping to provide, and women who work are made to feel guilty for abandoning their child. I wish women were more understanding about dealing with differences and letting things slide a bit more. You should never feel higher after putting someone else down. That being said, I don't know how we did it, but I found the world's greatest group of moms when my son was a year and a half old. We came from all walks of life and supported the ever-loving hell out of each other. This was in Phoenix late 90s and we were completely tight until I moved away when my son was 5. I miss all of them. It's very common for mothers or female relatives to be some of the first ones to comment on a woman's weight, appearance, or personal style, fashion choices, as well as reinforcing a sense of self-hatred. That is, I look so fat in this outfit, and you look so ugly in that color. All while tearing other women down. I can't believe she's wearing that, doesn't she know how she looks? When you have that reinforcement that it's normal to say things like that, because if your mom does it then it's okay to do it too, then you just treat it as normal, and because it's so common, you find other women to do it with and it just becomes a cycle. If you try to break it, then you're labeled as sensitive, a bore, and oh my god we're just having fun. Chill out, it's not that serious. I still remember the first time I called my mom on talking shit about a woman wearing something she didn't like, and she got so fucking mad at me. My experience working in education was that teachers frequently operated on the same intellectual level as their students regardless of age. Sometimes they'd even use the same excuses for not getting their work done, like pretending the computer ate their report card entries even though we could tell they'd never even logged in. I volunteered at a middle school for a year and a lot of the other volunteers were mothers whose kids attended that school. They were really awful and bullied this one new teacher horribly. Poor woman, really felt for her. What a horrible experience. I experienced this as well working as a substitute teacher. The teacher I was subbing for was always kind but I was a non-person to everyone else. I also saw so much backbiting when a teacher would try something different in their classroom. The other teachers would either ignore it or raise holy hell, but there was rarely public support. I mean, aren't we all here to help kids? Isn't any action geared like that to be supported and evaluated and then adopted if it's better than the old way? Oh sweet bottle baby kittens, good for you for rescuing all of them. Many years ago we raised a pair from day one, so tiny and weak we had to resort to stomach tubes initially. They were so bonded with us. They were just wonderful. Amazing how mere mewling puffs of kitten lint turned into two 15-pound long hair cats, still fighting in my lap over who got to be closer to my face. Thought I was a cat person exclusively, until a relative moved close by with their large dog. What an incredible sweet lovey snuggle that guy is too. The idea that the cat and dog volunteers actively disdain each other is really appalling, and I bet they both look down their noses at the rabbit people. Same here in the UK, my friend tried to adopt a dog. Between him and his partner there was a guarantee that the dog would be left maximum 1 hour alone a week. They had a good-sized garden, but still couldn't get the dog from a rescue. My O and I were looking for a young dog to bring into the family, no go as we have children. Seriously, my wife and I tried to adopt a 3-legged pit bull who had been shot by a cop. We have a beautiful home, 2 very friendly dogs, and give them super high-quality food. They gave the dog to someone else, so we were like okay. At least the dog found a home. Disappointed but alright. A month later, The adoption agency contacts us and said they took the dog back and she urgently needed a new home because her adopter was too poor. We told her we'd just adopted a special needs cat and she said oh, she doesn't like cats, but if you got rid of the cat, ma'am? Question mark. Not teaching, but your story just vividly sent me back to when I was an animal shelter volunteer at the shelter in my small town. I had never before seen grown-ass women in cliques before, but holy shit, I was just an animal lover 15-year-old there to pet and feed everything, but as it turns out, there were rivaling employees of either cat women or dog women. I got put on dog rotation first and helped this old lady feed them. Then I asked after a few days if I could take care of the cats, and she sort of grimaced, shuddered, looked at me like I was dirt, and said something about how I had to talk to the cat ladies for that. Cat ladies was said with a distinct disgusted tone. Then I met the cat ladies and they weren't any better. They looked at me like I was insane for liking the dogs, and when I talked about other people I'd met at the shelter or asked about them, these ladies would go ugh, they're a dog person, again, said with blatant disgust. Eventually my brother-in-law found orphaned injured super young kittens, called animal control in a panic, who then took them and said they were just going to put them down because they're so young. 2 were bottle feeding age, 3 were an older litter that could eat wet food. I walked my ass into that shelter since I was a damn volunteer anyway, demanded they give me those babies, and then never fucking went back. Still have the little too. Fuck those people. Grown adults in cliques and also not wanting to put effort into the literal definition of their job description. When I first got out of grad school, my first, and as it turns out, only, teaching job was long-term substituting for a friend while she went on maternity leave. The kids' classroom were mine for the first half of the school year, but we coordinated so that things would be pretty smooth transitioning back to my friend teaching at the end of her leave. My friend was part of a 2-teacher team who ran the 8th grade student council. I told the other teacher that I would be happy to help her with the club in my friend's absence, but she insisted she didn't need my help. She then proceeded to 100% ignore me and treat me as if I was invisible during all future interactions. 8th grade team meetings, if I said even a single word, she shot me side-eye, even though what I had said was not at all related to her, just the kind of "you're not a real teacher, how dare you speak" vibe she was giving off. My last day, my friend came in after school to put her classroom stuff up as I took my own down. The other teacher and 2 other women, the coach who I'd never talked to and another teacher, I don't remember, came in to help her, but none of the 3 of them offered to help me take any of my own things down, or pack any of it up. They also said things like, "Is this yours or hers?" to my friend, even though I was standing right fucking there. They also gushed about how excited they were that she was back, again, right in front of me. After I was finally done putting away all my things again, by myself, I just left without a word. I texted my friend about it later, and she apologized for her other friend's behavior but just excused it as, "Yeah, they're definitely the mean girls types." I was just floored. These were teachers, you know, the people who are supposed to teach children not to bully other people, and I had never been anything but nice to everyone I met during my time there, but they didn't care. I wasn't part of their group, so I wasn't worth their time. It became one of a laundry list of reasons I decided I didn't actually want to be a teacher for a living. After all, Doctor, personally experienced cliquey adult women in the education field, of all places. It sucked. Edit, sweet baby Jeebus, so many updates. Thank you for your contributions to the conversation, everyone. I was just sharing a personal example of the kind of behavior the original commenter was talking about. I didn't expect it to resonate with so many. Some women are so judgmental about other women, particularly when it comes to looks or fashion. Also, the women who seem to enjoy forming cliques and cutting out anyone they deem to be an outsider. Worked with an office full of them once. It really sucked. So about a week ago I posted on Facebook a screed against anti-vaxxers. Without any other comment, my stepmother posted "fuck you" to me. Why? Her 2 kids are anti-vaxxers who haven't gotten their shots yet. She has had her vaccine. I'm 43. By the way, I've since blocked her on Facebook as this was a last straw in a long line of insults from someone who has used that exact mama bear line on me before. This reminds me of a story. I had a cutesy little boyfriend-girlfriend thing in like 5th grade with my best friend's brother, but I found out he asked another one of my friends to be his girlfriend. Now I know we were 10, but it hurt my feelings, so I broke up with him and cried like crazy. His mom told my best friend she couldn't be my friend anymore, then called my mom up screaming, saying she'll fight tooth and nails for her kids and I'm overreacting because it's normal to date multiple people before you get married. What a weird family. As a special education teacher who very often had parents bring my students and their young siblings to meetings, I spent a lot of time saying, "Oh, that is not safe," and just waiting for them to help the child be safe. It seems to me that it is a win for you if you say something gentle and still the mom never comes back. I truly hope she was promptly removed as a patient. I really can't grasp how people let their kids behave this way. Mine are by no means perfect, but they are absolutely taught to be respectful in public or we peace out. We look with our eyes, not our hands. One of the first rules I actually learned as a kid too. I was in the waiting room when a doctor exploded onto a mother and her son. Apparently the physician's assistant forgot to lock the drawers for the cotton swabs, bandage packs and stitches remover kits. Well, when the mother and child were waiting for the doctor to finish up with someone else and get to them, the mother just let the little shit dig through and open all the packages and make a pile on the floor. The doctor was livid. As a medical doctor, this phenomenon has landed me in some very awkward situations, whereby an adult patient brings their basically feral child to a visit with me in my small office, because they've got no one who can babysit them. When the kid walks around touching my things, and or won't be quiet long enough to let me and their mother have an adult conversation, even after I've kindly asked them to settle down, I'm left with 2 choices. Neither of them favorable. I can tell the kid to behave with a bit more edge in my voice, and arouse the mother's mama bear protective instincts. I've never had a mother angry enough at me for disciplining her kid that she walked out on the spot or chewed me out, but I have had one suddenly become a lot colder to me, and never come back, when I've done this. The second option is to ask the mother to do something about her kid. This is only slightly less of a loss of face for the mother, though, because it often involves drawing attention to the fact that she's not parenting very well. So often I'll just become silent and patiently wait for the kid to be quiet and sit down, or the mother to do something about the kid, which is also awkward, if neither of these things happens within a few seconds. A few years ago my son's team was playing a little league game against another team. We had a very good team that year and the other team was really struggling. Despite this, it was a close game going into the 5th, that is next to last, inning. Well, we're batting and the wheels finally come off for the opposition. A kid on our team gets a simple hit to the outfield and the other team proceeds to go full T-ball and throw it all over creation. What should have been a single turns into a 3-run HR. As the batter crosses home plate, fans are going nuts, players are going nuts, everyone is going nuts, and the star player on the losing team just melts down. He picks up the ball and throws it as hard as he can right at our dugout. There's a safety fence of course, so no one gets hurt, but it was still very much a no-snap moment for everyone. At this point, the ump turns to the losing coach and says, "Coach, you need to get a hold of your player. That's it. That's all he said. He didn't say anything to the player. He didn't kick him out of the game. He just gave the coach a direct warning. Next thing I hear is, "Don't you talk to my baby that way," as the dugout mom comes firing out of the other dugout, heading straight for the ump. Fortunately for everyone, the head coach comes out of nowhere to intercept her. He proceeds to restrain her and walk her, and the player, away. The whole game stops for 5 minutes while those three basically have a group hug in the middle of the infield. Fortunately, that was the end of the drama. I still give major props to that other coach for somehow diffusing that situation without getting police involved, but I will never understand what was going through that lady's mind.